Alright, you are almost welcome. This is our part 2 of the live stream guide. Era tugenda kweyongera we twakoma ejjo. Ejjo twali tulabye ebyetaagisa, tulaba ne software engeri gy'omuteeka ku PC. So today we are going to assemble equipment byada ku camera to connecting ku PC. Tulabe engeri ekifaananyi kiba kikola ki kivaayo. Tulabe n'engeri gye tukola ki tuba going live. So natandika no setting cameras. Waneeno bwe tuba tulaba byetwalegeddeko ejjo byonna weebiri, the cameras that are needed, the tripods and everything. So we are going to start with the live stream eyokozesa computer or PC or laptop, anything. So when we start assembling our equipment, this is a heavy duty tripod or stand. So on these angles, this is where you adjust so that you loosen them. You loosen them. You loosen them up to the left side, then no skirboard, and you pull it out like this. So that is one other adjustment. After adjusting, you tighten the points. You tighten them up. Are you seeing very well?
Yeah.
After tightening them up, there's this point. You get close. There are these points. We have many things here, as you see. We have this plate where the camera is going to sit. Then we have this point. This one is to help us out in case we want to pull down this button. In case we want to pull down this button so that the plate that is attached to the camera is going to be attached here, passes through very well. So you have to make sure you pull it down as you're putting it on. Then this other one, this is for tightening. You tighten it and it's still and firm. So, and we also have this point. This one is to loosen the 360 like this. So when you loosen it, you are going to see how it's going to move. Then this one is to loosen the 90 degrees. You have to loosen it, and the tripod can adjust in the 90 degrees. There's also this other point. You also loosen it. There are 2 points. This one is to tighten it more stronger. Then this one is also to lock it. You lock it, then you tighten it from the other side. So now they are loose. We have untightened them up. They are loose now. So you see, we are able to do the 360 and also the 90 degrees. Understand? And this is where we hold. This is what we hold. If you want to adjust it, you can loosen it and pull back. That is the advantage of this kind of tripod. So you can control from a bit far a distance. Or if you want to get close, you loosen again. You pull it close and tighten. Okay, tighten leftwards. You tighten it going leftwards and clockwise. Alright, so this is it. Then if you want to adjust more height, you can loosen up this point. Now beranga you get more more height once you are really. But for us, we are going to use this height because most cases you don't have to. Okay, it depends on the preachers where the preacher is going to stand. Most cases when you are mounting a camera, you make sure it is in the face of the preacher, not above the preacher or below the preacher, so that you get a good coverage. Let me give an example. The preacher is on a high whatever, so I can adjust and it's on this level so that I match up with the preacher's height. So right now it's just we're just getting to know how to do this, but this is briefly like that. Those are, we have all understood these points.
But I have not understood people of a kind of plate.
This one.
But this club.
So this one, are you seeing that point here? When you are inserting the other plate, you have to make sure that point is pulled down. Okay. A plate it can't pass. So when you loosen it down, okay, you pull it down, you turn it down. The plate will pass very well. So after turning it down, you lose it, you leave it, then it will go back and it locks up so that the camera doesn't fall off. And you don't forget also this point, you lock it and make it what? Tight. Because if you just leave this and you don't lock this, it will go off. So you lock this also. Yeah. So this is our tripod. Now on this tripod, we're going to put our camera. We're going to put our what? Mirror. But always be careful as you're doing this. Don't rush. Don't use a lot of strength. No, these things are simple. Loosen it, adjust simply. Top up. Don't rush. No one is chasing you. You will make a mistake. You will make the camera fall. And every time you are with the camera, or you are operating the camera, and you leave it, don't leave it loose. You have to leave it tighten. Tighten it. You know this is the thing that we have to know. Tighten it. Then you do this, and you see that the camera is fit to stay. Then you can leave. Don't leave when the camera is loose. The camera will fly off, and you have to what? To buy us a new one. So you have to tighten up these points, and you make sure they are tightened up so that before leaving the camera. Don't leave the camera on the tripod without tightening it. Tightening these points. It's very tight. Then you can go do what you're doing. Then when you come back, you loosen them. Then you start controlling what? The movements. Have you understood that?
Yes.
If you are seen doing that thing, you will be penalized. So, we are going to put on our camera. This is Sony HXR-NX100, the one we talked about. Remember? So under it, you see there are two points where the screws, or rather where the nuts are inserted and tightened. So there's a plate that has to be put here, and most cases people put this plate after everything. They just put off the camera with the plate. You have to remove everything. You remove the plate, you place it aside, and the camera is free. You remove the battery, you put it aside, the camera is free. Don't leave the battery in the camera. That is not good. Don't leave on the plate on the camera. That is not good. And you have to make sure the lens is what? Covered. This is the cover of the lens. You loosen it like this. Onyweza, notuzako, nota. Then it's tightened. No kujako, you onyweza, no jako. That is simple. So make sure this is covered. There's no battery. There is no plate here. You remove everything and you separate it with the camera. Then you also cover this screen very well. And don't rush as you're doing things. Do it at a calm pace. Don't book it. If someone comes rushing, you tell them, wait. Let no one. Because if you make a mistake, this is too expensive.
Yeah.
So you have to take care of it very well. You have to be careful. Either anything you see that we are doing that I'm showing, you have to take care of your equipments, because you will need them for a long time. So these points, they are giving us what to do. So there's a plate here that we are going to connect to the tripod. You see it also has two points. So the big one will be here, and the small one will be here. So when you see they're in this format, the small one goes here and the big one goes here. After putting them, you have to make sure you have hold your camera strong. If you are not strong enough, you can take a seat and you do your work simply. You are not on a rush hour moment. You take your time. So you insert these two nuts. After inserting them, make sure they are aligned in their right positions. Then you tighten one by one. You start with the big one. You tighten it. Are you seeing these points? These points can slip off, or rather, they can be laid down and also be made straight. So when you are tightening, you make it straight and you tighten it simply like this. No siba mpora mpora, but you make sure they move together. You also tighten this as well. You are tightening the other one. You make sure they are in their right pots. You understand? You keep on tightening them. You tighten them both. You see that? You tighten them what? Both. After tightening them, you make sure it is tight. You slip it down. Okay, basa. Then this one, when you make it also right, you make it lay down. So you can see the plate is strong. It is attached well. This one just covers this point, but you can as well, it can keep there. But if you want it to be kept there right, make sure at this point it is what? It is loose. It is tight and slipped off. Then you cover it down, but you can still have it off because it is just insertable. The purpose of this, it is to keep this point so that these nuts don't go out. They can pass here and fall off. But when you are untying, or rather when you are putting it off this plate, make sure this is put here and then this is put here, so that it keeps these whatever's there. They don't get lost. So afterwards you can remove it if you are inserting it on the camera. But you make sure you keep it safe and you insert it back after. So this is our plate, and you see there's no one that is standing like this, because if you keep them like this, they will not sit on the other part. Make sure they are slipping off, so it is flat. Now you see these points. You see this, Yes. This is what enters up. This is what you enter here. Very calmly, like simply, mpola. You move this in, and it is what? It is attached to that. So when you are moving it in, you make sure you see things right. That you allow this point. Don't put this point. We want the downer one. And it has to enter in these very points. Don't put one and it goes like this. Are you seeing that? It is one inside, but this one is out. You have to make sure both of them are in this plate. They are flat. So you move it in from the first point. Then you push it slowly. You can move it in either ways, either from this side or the other side. So if you are not seeing well, you can move it from the front. So from the front, there is the other what? The other thing that I told you. So you have to make sure you turn it down so that it passes through. So when it passes through, hold up. You have to make sure this is loose first. Are you seeing that? You know why it was tight? It is because of this point. It was not loose. This one was tight. So you have to make sure this is loose and this is also loosened when you're moving it in. So this has to be loose, this point. So when it is loose, there will be a smooth movement when it's coming in. Are you seeing that? It is now passing on very well. But you make sure this is turned down, so that it is what? So you see that if you don't tighten, it can pass off. It can move off. It can move off. So you have to make sure when you have reached, when you have balanced it, you balance it in the middle. Not you balancing about. So when you have balanced it, you loosen this turn down. So after loosening that turn down, you turn back to this side and you tighten this. They come tight enough. You see that? So when it's tight enough, are you seeing that the camera is now safe? Even if you do this, it cannot move off. But if you don't tighten this, it can move off. So you have to make sure you tighten it. That is a caution. So when it's tightened, are you seeing that it is heavy? So if you leave it without locking these parts, it can go. Still, it can be affected. So you have to make sure you lock this. You lock. You make sure it's straight. You lock. As well, you lock this side. Yeah. And whenever you're making a stand, whenever you're making a tripod stand still, you look at this point. There's a point here which controls the balance, which shows you the balance. You see that round thing? It has to be in the middle of the round thing. It has to be in the middle to show you that it is balanced. However much you adjust it up or down, you keep checking. Is it in the middle? Yes. So it depends on the ground also. If you find a ground that is still, it will show you that it is like this. So you adjust those points and you keep this so that it's flat.
The tripod is straight or the camera? The
tripod. Because the tripod gives the camera what it's going to get. Because you can make this angle. Let me give an example. You can do this and you have your tripod set. And you say, I'm ready to what? To get ready. So when you're capturing the video, who is it?
Maybe it is on a slanting.
Even if it's slanting, then you just adjust the points. And you say, at on the tripod, and it was sat. That's still this thing can show you. Now you come and see how it is showing us. It is showing us, please, this side is too down. So the other side is too high. So it's not in the middle.
Yes, yes.
So you always have to keep a check on it.
Okay.
Yeah, that is just for clarity. So when you make sure your stand is straight and flat, now you can now set it ready and focus on the picture. So before that, there are things that you have to put on the camera. Now this camera, we normally use what? We normally use a HDMI cable, but I talked about the transmitters. We have them, so I'm going to show you how to connect the transmitters and HDMI cables too. So this camera, it has a battery that you can insert as you are doing your work, so that in case of power shortage, you still have your coverage.
So they don't indicate the liquid that they use there.
The liquid, like
How much you use?
I think they use mercury or what?
Yes.
Nenga builders. That thing they use
that
balance.
Yes.
I think it's the same thing that it is applied here. So they help you to know that it is well balanced or it is not balanced. You understand? Then there's also this point. First come and see this point down. It is also adjustable. When you loosen it, come in weight. You see? So sometimes you might find the camera like this and you are like, what is wrong with the camera? But it's because you loosen this. So you have to make sure it is also balanced. You also consider this part. You balance it. So when it's balanced, you tighten it. But I advise not to touch it. To keep it tightened. So that you just keep balancing this. That one is just for if you're a pro. Alright. So that is it. So we are going to use our battery. You can first come and see the battery. This is where the battery goes for the camera. And when you are inserting the battery, you make sure you release this. You can release it, but in most cases you release it just for your case. So you put it in and slope it down. You understand? Even when you're putting it out, you hold this, you move it up and pull it out. I think it's similar to the other Sony HXR. Sony HXR-NX100. So this is a battery you're going to use. It is a Sony type. Yes, it is a Sony type. And it has 4 200 amps, 7.2 volts. So power also determines. It also depends. You can say how much does the camera consume, which capacity or whatever voltage is the battery. So you determine those two and say it might take this duration. But still here, they always notify you that the battery is moving. It is on this capacity, it's on this percentage. So as I've said, you see these points? This and this. That's what has to be down. Because this can't be down. You understand? So the Sony word has to be like this. So even when you put it and you see that the Sony word is upside down, you'll be like this. So these things are the ones that will insert on these things inside. So when you have it, you move it like this, put it inside, you make sure it is up, then you hold this and put it down, then you release. You see that? So now it's tight. So you cannot remove it without pressing this. If you force it to remove it without pressing it, you will destroy it. So you have to press this, then you move it up and pull it out. Now when you are inserting, you have to do this on the top, then you move it down, then you release. Even here they say battery release. Battery what? Release. So when you want to remove it, you press the button, you move up, and you do what? You remove it. When you are inserting, on top, you move it in, then you pull it down. There's also an arrow that shows you. This is for inserting. Removing, it has to be up, pull out. Much chain and long. So now the battery is what? It is in and strongly inserted. Now, when you have your battery in, this is what we call a monitor screen. So the screen for where you monitor your video from. So you open it like this, and you do this. That is set. Then you make sure this part, remember this? I told you have to make sure this is what? Closed as you leave the camera, or rather as you're parking. So you make sure it's now open so that you get the picture. If you leave this on, you just have a black screen. So you have to make sure it is open. So you have to do what? You have to open it. So when you open it, now you can come. This camera has settings. This is a power what? Button. When you put it this side, it is the on. When you put it this side on the right, or rather the other side, it is off. Era wana mukalaba ka power. Osindikeri ebe vako, osindikeri no ebe dako. Whenever you are done with this, with a stream or what video coverage, you have to make sure you turn off the camera. Don't leave it on. You leave it on and you remove your battery, you think it is done. No. First step is turning off, then you remove the battery. Don't remove the battery before turning what? Off. Then we also have these buttons. That's okay. Let us first put on the camera. So we have put our battery and we have opened up the lens, or the iris. So now we are going to do what? Turn on. Yes. No, this one, when you are putting it back on, you do this. You do this, you rotate, then you just it is simple, it just attaches and detach. So when you are removing it, still you do what? You hold it and you just remove it flat. When you reach here, you turn it to your face so that you see what you are monitoring. Then after that, then you come here and pull to this side, that is on. So when you put it on, you see on the screen it has given us a feed. So now the camera is on. Now when you have put it on, you know that you have a battery in. That's why it is on without a cable. But most cases, when you're operating with this, you can have a cable inserted in, or it depends, when you're moving, you can have just a battery in. So we're going to also connect our cable just to be giving us a straight power. But in case of power shortage, you can keep on the battery. So battery is a backup. Battery is a what?
A
backup.
So this is our cable. This is our power cable. This is our power cable. So we do this, we enter it. this point, this is what is going to be inserted where the DC is. The power port, the input. So when you see this is it, this is how you insert it. You put it in like this. Let me show you something. Are you seeing this part? Are you seeing this part? What did you do? Where do you see this arrow?
Yes.
This arrow has to be on your left. Let me show you on the camera like this. You see me? This arrow, it has to be on your left. Don't force any position you want to be put in. This arrow has to be on your left. And you see these whatevers, this pattern of nankage. It has to be on your right. So you do what? You insert it to this point, the DC in. On the DC in, there is also an arrow, and it's on the left side, so it matches up with this arrow. So don't just insert in any position you want. So you have to put it in right. And I said you take your time, don't rush. Set up. If you rush, you crash. You have to take your time. Don't be on pressure. You be on pressure, you are causing yourself problems because you make better mistakes than you thought you have made. So after inserting that, this is a type of the type of cable we have for our power. But still, you can have another adjustable whatever you can put on this so that it matches up with other ports of extensions or what. But our extension is having this. It can allow it to be inserted. So you are going to insert it in the extension. You make sure you don't have power on, because you can't insert power on at the same time. It will cause a short circuit. So the button has to be powered off. So when it's powered off, you put it in. After putting it in, and you have made sure this is connected, are you seeing? That is when you put on your power. You turn what? You turn on. So when you turn on, it will be what? It will be connected. We have our power, and what? Are you seeing? Here we see the percentage of the battery. They show it's 40%, but when you put your power cable, it will be removed because it's on straight power. So you can have it monitored. So after doing that, you make sure your camera is now set.
So when you because when you remove the cable, it shows you
the percentage.
Yeah, the percentage of the battery. So
when you put
why is it that when you insert the power, the percentage?
Because now it has turned to straight power.
Can it function when you have removed the battery?
Yeah, it can do very well when you come to functioning. So let us give it an example. When you release and pull out the battery, you see it is still on.
It doesn't damage.
So when you pull back the battery, that means you have put back the backup. This is a backup. So that when the power is off, for it just goes back to the battery.
Now, does it help it to the battery to charge?
Most cases it can help charge the battery, but better way is to have your battery charged before, and it is fully charged. Then you keep it in so that when power goes off, the screen doesn't black out. You keep having your video captured. Yeah. So now we have connected our power and everything. So we are going to see now these buttons briefly. I will not show a lot, but on these buttons we have, first of all, we are going to look at the lens. This camera has a fixed lens. It has a what? It has a fixed lens. So what I mean by a fixed lens, it is a lens you cannot put off and put back. It is fixed on it. I told you these are mirrorless cameras that most cases have these fixed lenses, but still there are cameras that don't have fixed lenses, and you can put a lens you want and you can remove it or what. So on this lens we have this first. Are you seeing this?
Yes.
Then this second, and this last. Every part has a function. Now let's give an example. You be there. So you can see Are you seeing very well? So this is our person. You see he's having a blurry face. So let us examine each and every what? Part of the lens. So when we examine the first one, this is what it does. The first one is adding what? More blur. More blur. Then you have to show it very well. Then the second one, it helps you to zoom out and zoom in. Are you seeing that? So now let us get a very clear coverage. So when you adjust, his face is now what? Better. So when you pull back, it is still better. When you pull in, it shows you that it has gotten some blur. Still you have to adjust on this first one. Now you see his what? His texture is fine. Now this other one, the last one, it is to add light. But it all depends on the function that is active. As we are going to see now, when you turn it down, there is no light. Then when you turn it back, there is more light.
Yes.
Can come and put these points. So the first one is for focus. Second one is for zoom. Then the last one is for light, for adjusting any setting that is put up. Yes. Then there are also these buttons as you see them. So there's also an ND filter. An ND filter, it helps you to give you a clear picture. Most cases when you put it up the side, if I go back and see how it looks. When you put it up totally, that is how it is. Then when you put it down totally, it gives you a very clear what? Filter. So you have to keep this down, not up. Put it down. You understand?
Yes.
The ND filter. Then there is an iris. There's also this button. This button gives you a function of doing what? Having a manual focus or an automatic focus. So you can manually control the focus or automatically control the what? The focus. Then iris, you can manually control the iris or automatically control it. Those are buttons. Now we are going to examine each. First go there. So when you tap this button, iris, you have to make sure that you're seeing whatever is on the screen. When you tap it, now it has gone to what? To manual. Now when you tap it again, it has gone to what? To auto. So that means when you zoom in, it can automatically find focus. Then when you zoom out, it can automatically find what? Focus. Then when you tap these buttons, by the way, they will change most of the settings. So it will be upon you to do what? To pull back the settings. Then there's also this button here. This also can help you on adjusting on more light or reducing it. You can pull it down or pull it up. Pull it down or pull it up. So there's a button that is called gain. Gain helps you add light, or rather more gain on light, so that your picture is not so dark and so on. So when you tap the gain button, when it is shown here. When it shows here that it is selected, that is in white, then you can do what? You can add more what? More light with this button, or you can use this whatever that we said, it adds more what? More light. Then there's also a shutter button. Shutter works in a way that it can help you remove these images that zina no focus like this, so that when you move your hands, they don't have bakaita kazima, I don't know how it's called, that shadow when you move it. Yes. So when you tap the shutter button and you increase, the more you increase, the more it reduces on the light. Why? Because it works hand in hand with the gain, because you're on manual, and it reduces the gain, or rather it reduces light. But after adjusting this, you can now go to the gain button and increase more light. But you make sure the shutter is not low, because when it's low, when it's low, when it is low, it can give whatever, just that because it's not a faster motion. When it's slow, it can reduce on the focus of the what? On the focus of the what? Of the object that is being captured. But when it's high, it can help you what? Keep the person with the right image moving. So those are just buttons I wanted to show you. But most cases, the shutter button, it can also help on adding light or reducing on light. In case the gain has reached to its max, you can play with the shutter button and add more light. So now you see the image is clear, but I can reduce some light or add more. But if you add more light, it will be funny. So you keep it on a normal light. So those are just buttons, but we shall have a full lesson for just buttons only.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you have understood these lenses.
Yeah.
First go back. This one is for focus.
Focus.
You see? Screen. Put it close. So this is for focus, the first one. Then the second one is for zooming in and zooming out. Then the last one is for the light. Much change. Yeah, that is it. And that is it is a what? It is the lens that is moving. So after understanding that, we are going to see something else. When you open this point, you open it from this side. Are you seeing this? There is A and B. There is a and B. This part is for the SD. Okay, the storage points where you can have your SD card inserted and you keep data. Whatever is captured here, it is put where? It's put here. So you can open it from here and put this kind of SD cards I told you yesterday. One of them, you insert it here. So when you're inserting it, it has to be this way.
Yeah.
Not like this, but this way. So you insert it and you press and release. You press, you make sure it is attached and release. Even when you're removing it, you press and do what? Release. So this one helps us to have our video captured and inside and stored on this, but still you have to adjust it on the settings. Much change. So when you have that inserted, now you can have your HDMI cable put here so that it sends the video to the what?
The monitor.
To the monitor. So this goes, and when you're putting this here, first of all you can rotate it here up. You lose and here you rotate it so that it is not hanging. So when you rotate it, then you can bring it here. Sorry, you can bring it here and insert it. Why are we doing this? Because if it's here, it can hang. Never get black screens, but if it's rolled here and it is tight, so you can have your movements when it is stable here. Never straightward here, someone can even tap it never here. But here, even if you tap it, just does this, but this one is still in. So you can move your camera very well. This is for the HDMI output. So when you have it, it goes to the other side of the stream. Then another thing, you can also have it an alternative as for the what? For the transmitter. Mujikira transmitter?
Yeah. Transmitter.
Transmitter?
Sending that movie.
This is the transmitter. So this one is the transmitter. Then there is a receiver. I told you yesterday.
Blue and green.
Yes, the red one is the one that is sending to the what? The blue one.
Yes. Blue receives. So this is the blue one, and this is the red one. The blue one, it is received. We are receiving. It is the one that's going to receive from this one. So there are two. The red one is sending. The blue one is receiving. So this is what we're going to put on our camera. You understand? Then this is what is going to be the other side to receive what is coming. Much change. Right. So when we have this, you have to make sure it has a battery put in. You understand? You get me one battery. You get me that. It has to have a battery. So when you're inserting a battery, this is how you do it. You put it in and you push it in, and it is attached. Are you seeing that? Then there's a button here that is on. Are you seeing the button? There's a button that is for on or off. So when you press it and it goes down, that is on. When you press it and it comes out, that is off. Then there are two ports for the output. You can output with the HDMI or the Phantom or Type-C. So we are going to use our HDMI. You understand? So when you have put your battery on and you put the transmitter on, it will do this. It will show you this display. But this display has to connect with the other one. But we shall see that for the next class. So when you have done this, then you have to make sure you have what? You have your antennas put on both of them, not one-sided. Pull it out. Yes, you have to have your antennas on. So these are our antennas. You install them on. You tighten them well. So when that is on, you also put in the other one, the receiver. So this one, you're going to use an HDMI, isn't it? You're going to use an what? HDMI cable. What is my shorter HDMI? So, no, it's okay. Keep that. Okay, so it's okay. There's a shorter one. There's a shorter HDMI cable I would like to use, but it's something else. But it's okay. Let me show you. So when you have this in place, you can do what? You can put it here in front. Are you seeing this part? Yeah. Are you seeing this point here?
Yeah.
You move it in and tighten. The channel has to connect with the other one that is receiving. They have to be the same. So when you tighten it, you can now have your what? HDMI cable. Let me use this longer one. So this HDMI cable, one port has to be like this. It is from the camera, as we did. I see. It's from the camera, and you do the other roll we did. Then another port has to be put here where the HDMI is. Where the HDMI is what? Is. So when it is inserted, that means the camera is supplying this, and this is sending to the what? To the receiver. Are you saying that? So when you have done so, you can now come and monitor here. You see this part? It is showing you feeds. It is showing you that the video that is being gotten or rather received by the transmitter, it is 1080. So 1080 is the quality. So that means now it is now receiving the what? The video. So when it has done so, that means it is connected successfully. So today we have examined the what? The Sony what? HX100. Have we understood? So we have examined the transmitter and also the HDMI, how to connect them. The next time we are going to add on to that. Yes? Right, thank you for watching. So for more information, you can contact us on the numbers that are going to be put in the description, or rather email us also. But we shall keep having these lessons until when we are done. Thank you. May God bless you. Amen.
Thank you.